Teams, today, if you've brought your FRS radio with you, right here in the front table are a couple of folks that can check out that radio and make sure it's operational, that it will pass muster and you can use it on the race course. So be sure as we go through this meeting or at the end that you have your FRS radio, if you brought it with you, that you get it tested and make sure that it's going to work for the course. Also, while we're waiting here just a moment, a request from a team long ways away, 12,000 miles. This is a Queensland, Australia team asking for, of all volunteers now, they're looking for one alternate. Somebody willing to ride in that follow vehicle for a long period of time. Part of the Australian team, they're looking for an alternate. They want to be sure in case all else fails that they don't become unofficial in the race. So if you have somebody that is willing to do that, then come up and see these two young ladies right here. They're representing the Australian team, and they'll take your volunteer's name. Okay, if we can all take a seat. It's 12 o'clock and we'll get started. This is the 5th and final meeting of the team captains for this year's race. And as I spoke to Tony this morning, I had expected that we'd have lost a few more teams. We started with 294 teams, and we've lost 7 in that mix between the highest point and where we are today at 287 teams. That's 12 more than last year. And believe you me, 12 more is a lot of people out there when you multiply it all out. But we're at 287 teams right now. And I want to bring up the race director, Ruben Gonzalez. Come on up. This is Ruben Gonzalez from the Lap Rack board. He is our race director this year. And we'll let him get going.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to make it very quick because we're actually jumping on a plane to head out to Vegas to go inspect, between legs 14 through 16. I just want to wish everybody good luck. Be safe from the time you guys hit that 15 to get out there. Be safe. Keep an eye on all your runners. My phone number is listed on the website. Like you said, I am the race director. I'm also on the rules committee. I know we're going to have some issues where the race cuts off and your runner's going to jump on into the follow band. I'm sorry. And take them up to 17. And Chuck will explain that a little more. My goal is to make sure that the rules committee takes any violation and thoroughly look into it and not hit you guys with some loose penalty over. We're going to keep an eye on that area. So one last thing, and I don't make any money off of this, but last year we did run out of sweaters Saturday night, Sunday morning. So if you're going to get your Baker to Vegas merchandise, today might be the day to do it. So have a safe trip. Thank you all. We'll see you in Vegas.
Already mentioned the Rules Committee, and let me give you their names. The chairman there is Ruben. He sits on that committee. The chair of the committee is Kathy Meek, Frank Reilman, Rogelio Maldonado, Andrew Lee, Dave Miklos, Pat Larrigan, and Sam Zerby is our computer analyst. Those are the Rules Committee. They become operational 0600 Sunday morning. They will have gathered the documents off the race course that had closed by that period of time. They'll begin to load all that information, take a look at all the data, and in particular, as I mentioned to Highway Patrol Team Captain earlier, in the entire 35 years of this race, we have never ever had a stage where we've eliminated a stage. We've just never done that. This is the first time. And in order to do that, there's a time gap, a huge delayed time gap that will be different for every single team. And in determining that time gap will determine first, second, third, 15th, whatever the place situation is per team. So knowing that data, getting it accurately done, this is all a part of what the Rules Committee will do. There's an entire race staff, most of whom you'll never see, never meet, and won't know. The race can't get done with just one or two people, as you clearly can tell. So there's an entire group of folks that put together information. I'm going to mention their names now because this is something they should hear. There's Ruben Crane, who's sitting right here, operating this magic little live stream video that has corrected all my English, taken away all my profanity. Barbara Ginn, who's worked with me for 30 plus years downstairs and puts the program together, the actual program. Dispersed at the award ceremony is a document that lists all of the folks that help in this race. And keep it, don't throw it away. Don't leave it there in the chairs. Our merchandise manager, and I don't see Debbie, where'd Debbie go? The merchandise right there, responsible by LabRack. Debbie is our manager. A very new young lady who has never been involved in this situation in her life. Brand new to LabRack, her name is Caitlin Midler. And Caitlin is the person in charge of the VIP reception. Your chief, sheriff, agent in charge, what have you, has been sent an invitation. You need to follow up to be sure they've received that invitation and they've responded. If they have not, then I'm going to be in these minutes. We're going to give Caitlin's information and you're going to contact her. And you're going to indicate that your sheriff, your agent in charge, your chief executive has not received the invitation, and they'll get one. Up on the stage and behind this curtain are all our RV support staff, led by Lisa Villa. They come to these meetings, they work, they hand out these t-shirts, they get out on that race course with their very, very nice motorhomes. It's parked out there in the middle of the desert. And they hand out the bib numbers, the RV support. Troy Pennington. Troy is our chief medical director. He was on his way from Ventura to Riverside when I spoke to him about an hour ago. He said, I'll come by here. I said, okay. You want to explain a little more in detail about what you do? That's fine. So he'll be here. This is Ruzi, Peter Benjamins, handle our medical radio network, and staff of 25 or 30 that go out there to the desert and set up an entire relay station, a portable 911 system. That's what it is. It takes a lot of staff and tremendous expertise. I listen to their radio chit-chat on Friday afternoons, understand about every 10th word, what they're talking about. Very, very technical people, but it takes that to make that system work. Not here today, but Joy Matlack, Margie is here today, representing our ham radio operators, 350, 400 ham radio operators out there. Drive all the way out to that race course, set up their entire ham operation, work the race, and then go home. Must make for about a 24-hour day out there for them. Hauling out tons and tons of equipment worth thousands and thousands of dollars to make sure that we get one simple job taking place. Early warning to the next exchange point, who's coming in. Emergency radio traffic from the Westgate Hotel to the race course, looking for someone. They've got a great track record for doing this and being successful. Larry Wehedge handles our motors. We have about 50 motors out there who do our escort detail and our rule enforcement up through the town of Pahrump. I mentioned Sam Zerbe. Sam is somebody that luck would have it found him, who understands, writes, and reads Paradox, the database operation that runs the Baker to Vegas computer. And through Sam and through what Tony have done is created newer, quicker, shorter, faster means of communications out to you as team captains. But listen, for you here and for those listening, it doesn't do a damn bit of good if you don't read the email. I know you don't read it because when you send me a question, I can clearly see you did not read the information or you would have answered your own question. Read the documents. There's 30 days left. I'm not going to send out tons of information, but what I do send out is important. Read it. If you really do have questions about it, well, then send me your question. Not here in this room, but I certainly want to pay a tribute to him and thank him. This is Jason Merrick. Don't know Jason? I've never met him. He is a friend of a friend. But he said he knew how to run Photoshop, and he does. And to the about 40, 45 teams that have submitted a picture to be placed on your bib number, I send that photo to him, he cleans it up, he puts a flag behind it, he puts the name of the person on the photograph and sends it back to me. That will get sent to the printer, that will get placed on your bib number. Does all this. Never met him? All I can say is thanks, because I've never done anything for him. He's that kind of guy. We have guests in the room, and way back in the far corner, Sal Ortega, come on up. Oh, you're right here. Oh, I'm looking way back there, Sal. Sal is from the Los Angeles Police Federal Credit Union. He is the title sponsor of our race this year. They have a gift. If you did not pick it up, be sure you do. It's in the far corner over there, so be sure you get that gift. Come on up, Sal.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So with the race being around the corner, we're starting to get the checks ready for the sponsorship for you guys. So if you haven't reached out to us already, please make sure to come over to our table. Any agency within the LA County, we would love to partner up with you guys and try to help you out. For the following teams, we do have your guys' checks today. I understand that we are still processing some requests, so we don't have your check today. We will, once the check is ready, we will reach out to you guys to get it to you as quick as possible. So Hawthorne Police, San Fernando PD, Burbank PD, Pasadena Police, for LAPD, West Traffic Division, West LA Station, and Pacific. Like as Chuck mentioned, we do have your captain's gifts, so please make sure to come over to our corner and pick that up. And we do also have decals for your vehicles. For any teams that did pick up checks today or picking up checks, if you can do us the favor, once the meeting is over, we would like to take a picture with you guys today. So if you can just do us that favor, and once the meeting is over, just come over to our table, and we would love to take a photo. Thank you.
If you don't pick up your check today, I'm going to have Sal here endorse it, and we'll spend it here. So be sure you pick up that check. Just walking into the room right now, this is Dr. Pennington. I'll ask him to come on up here in a second. Troy, come on up. When Troy came to us last year and said that he wanted to come out to the race and bring a corps of doctors, originally the trainees, what you call residents, yeah, I know, that's always an odd name to me. But anyway, I said, fine, great. And it'll enhance what happens to the runners if they're in need of any kind of medical assistance. Well, it went from that to the regular doctors. the actual emergency room doctors. You will get the absolute best treatment humanly possible out there. He gave us another problem that we tried to solve. That is to send data from the race course to a central location. That data is your runner's medical information. We've sent you the link. Go on the link as individuals, not as teams, and complete the information. By scanning that information, they'll be able to determine a great deal more about your direct care, how to help you if you're in need of help. This would have done us no good at all, though, without Verizon's help to get out to the race course and complete an analysis and a setup of the internet at every single exchange point. So it's there, but it is there for this medical reason, and it is there to send data, not for you to make your cell phone calls. So if your cell phone lights up, do not ask anybody what the password is, because you're not going to get it. So it is there to send medical data only. But I'll let Troy come up and say a little more about that right there.
Oh, okay, great. Hi, guys. I just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here. This is our third year with the event. We got to join this already fantastic team of volunteers that's been out here each year. Many of the volunteers that we work with have been doing the event for more than 20, 25 years. First responders, EMTs, paramedics, nurses. We were able to kind of bring the resources of the local county hospital, the San Bernardino County Hospital, which is Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And I got the buy-in of our hospital CEO and the board of supervisors to support us and provide liability coverage. You'll have over 40 people from Arrowhead this year. That's our emergency room attending physicians, our critical care nurses, emergency medicine physician assistants, and emergency medicine residents. We're heavily stacked on the California side. On the California side, the majority of us are there because we're licensed in California. That prompted me last year to bring in a Nevada side medical director. His name is Dr. Alex Malone. He wasn't able to be here with us today. Alex is also a board certified emergency room physician. He's going to be supervising the Nevada side operations and the team on the Nevada side. He also has an alter ego as a deputy sheriff, believe it or not, for an ER doctor. He also has worked as a medical director for Mercy Air in Nevada, as well as I think he's the medical director of North Las Vegas Fire Department. So you have a fantastic medical team. We'll probably have somewhere of more than 150 providers spread out over the entire course. One of the things that I did want to mention that's so important is all of your departments, I know, have automated external defibrillators. As you know, we had a cardiac arrest in last year's event in one of our runners. That runner is alive and well today. But more than anything else, I attribute the life of that runner and the saving of that runner to his own teammate that had the forethought to bring an automated external defibrillator with him on their follow or chase vehicle. They had it in the vehicle. We had one, but remember, we've got 6 miles or more between stages. And so with the traffic congestion that we have, the amount of time it takes us to get there, it still can be a considerable effort to get there and provide early defibrillation. So I'd strongly encourage each and every one of you, if you have the ability to bring one of your own automated external defibrillators, please bring it with you. Now, there are a few do's and don'ts before the race that I just wanted to touch on real quickly. This is my third year doing the event as the medical director. The stuff that we're seeing is very, very predictable. I know it's a lot to ask. I know you're in Vegas. Please don't drink right before the event. You know, ideally, please don't drink 2 days before the event. You know, most of the stuff that we see, we're treating medically a couple hundred people each year. 200, 300, 400 people have minor medical stuff out of all of our runners. And out of that group, in the last 2 years, we've had 6 of those people that were really sick. I'm talking about heat stroke, temperatures nearing 107 degrees, actively seizing from a heat-related emergency, or last year, a cardiac arrest. So, you know, all of the stuff that we're doing is to try to provide better safety for the runners, but I would strongly encourage you, avoid alcohol. Avoid stimulant drinks a couple of days before. Your Rockstars, your Red Bulls, your Monsters, all right? Caffeine can be your enemy in this type of an event. Avoid non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So avoid like Advil, ibuprofen, Motrin, Naproxen, Aleve. A lot of people think they should load up on that before the event. It'll help with the aches and pains. It's actually going to increase your risk for a thing called rhabdomyolysis. which is abnormal breakdown of skeletal muscle, which can clog up your kidneys and cause kidney failure. So avoid the NSAIDs a couple of days before the event, and then immediately after the event, I'd also caution you to avoid NSAIDs. The other thing is, for those of you that know what pre-workouts are, it's those stimulant type powders that you can take before your workout. Avoid them like the dickens, all right? They're going to increase your risk for heat-related emergencies. They're going to increase your risk for rhabdomyolysis. They're going to increase your risk for cardiac arrhythmias. You think of one Red Bull as like 80 milligrams of caffeine. 1 or 2 scoops of that can be well north of 500 milligrams of caffeine in your pre-workout. So the things that we see happen to runners are consistently based on their bad behaviors, usually leading up to the event. So avoid the alcohol, avoid the NSAIDs, avoid the pre-workout stuff. The other thing is vitamin patches. We found vitamin-infused patches, which actually have stimulants. One of the runners 2 years ago was altered. We were trying to figure out what's going on. The runner denied doing everything else, but was a little bit confused. We took his shirt off. We were cooling him down. He had these patches stuck on him, which were vitamin stimulant patches. And I never expected to see that. So that's another thing, please avoid. For your master's level runners, and that means anybody over age 45, I would also encourage you to consider taking a regular full-strength aspirin the morning of the race. If you don't have any other contraindications, you've been cleared by your physician, I would encourage you to take a regular aspirin that decreases platelet aggregation, so you're less likely to have a heart attack. So most of the major endurance agencies will recommend just a single full-strength aspirin. That's pretty much it on those recommendations. The other big piece that I wanted to say is the one other thing I please want you to be patient with us. I'm trying to move us to an electronic medical record this year. I'm trying to have a big board where I can see in real time what's going on with the entire event. So that means that Chuck and Tony have graciously allowed me to put this little teeny QR code on the front of your runner's bibs and then a little 5-digit number on the bottom of that. We're gonna scan you like fruit through a checkout stand, right? When you come through the finish line, please be patient. Our catchers are all of our medical trained professionals, our physicians, our nurses, our EMTs, first responders. Verizon has provided us with 90 devices to scan you. We're gonna have tablets and we're gonna have phones, and we're gonna scan you when you come through your QR code. We hope this all works. We're developing it for the first time. We're gonna scan you. That is tied to our database. So please, I encourage you to put your information in the database. And then we're gonna say, okay, he looks great, boom. Done. She looks great, boom, done. Or, oh no, this person's delayed, they need additional treatment. The moment you hit the yellow tab on that app, it's gonna register on my big board. I'm gonna know where you're at, I'm gonna know what's going on with you, and I can monitor your care, help me coordinate resources in real time. So I really encourage you to sign up. We're protecting your data with the utmost care. It's 128-bit encrypted. We're gonna de-identify and take all of your data down and off the internet as soon as the race is over. We're bank level encryption on that database. And so, you know, I know some of you may have concerns about that, but we're doing the best we can. We're trying to improve the safety and the security for everybody out there. We want it to be the safest race ever. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Go over that list of painkillers to
yeah, just the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. So I'd avoid, you know, like Motrin. Motrin is, you know, it's Advil, ibuprofen, same thing. Naproxen. Naproxen is also Aleve. So the safe things to take would probably be, if you're gonna take something, take Tylenol, or, you know, again, for our older runners, aspirin's probably not a bad idea, assuming you don't have any other contraindications or reasons not to take it. Those are pretty much the big things. Stay well hydrated, avoid lots of caffeine. That's pretty much it. Anything else? Thanks, guys. Let's have a great race this year.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. You know, you never know where you run into friends and folks that you meet and step up and handle a terrific problem for us. Having the doctors and nurses out on the race course, unless you're really familiar with California's situation and their law, I can't begin to tell you how that's changed the medical treatment of our runners. And that's really a terrific job of these guys to do that. On your table are these raffle. So let's get a little business out of the way. Be sure you fill this out. We will raffle off a tablet today, as we will have last couple of meetings now. So be sure you fill this out, and we'll see who the lucky person is. In the room with us, besides our Federal Credit Union, is a National Life Group, Javier Rodriguez, who is going to be raffling off the tablet and their fundraising activities. Mobile Radio Associates, where are you here, Mark? They're going to raffle off 2 gifts as well. There should be something on the table there for their operation. So we'll have some lucky folks at the end of this meeting. Smitty, where are you, Smitty? There's Smitty down at the far corner. Smitty has the reflective team numbers. You will need 2 of those reflective team numbers, both for your follow vehicle. Right rear window and the passenger side of your vehicle. Be sure that you have 2 6-inch reflective numbers. Smitty's here today, he will not be here tomorrow. And unless you live close, work, whatever, near El Monte, you'll be making a long ride to pick those numbers up, so be sure you do that. Again, Verizon, Russell Sabota here from Verizon. Stepping out to a big picture of what they're going to do on this race course. I'm sure a lot of their folks were never familiar with a race or with the desert out there, and they're hauling their equipment hundreds of miles to make what we need doable. Piece of housekeeping here. On the internet, on the front page of the Baker to Vegas website will be a link to the live streaming of the finish line. So if your folks back at the station want to get up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, they can watch whatever is occurring there at the finish line. It's video only, no voice. We don't want to hear all the yelling and screaming, so they're only going to see the picture of what's happening there. For those that have not heard KNX Radio and Pete Demetrio, this is Pete right here. Pete is our announcer for both the start line and the finish line. At the finish line, if you want something said about your 20th runner, the last runner coming in, about that person or your team, you send me the email. I will forward it to Pete, and he'll have it there to say something about your team or your runner as they're coming in. So be sure if that's what you want done, that you get it to me. A little bit about rule enforcement. The town of Pahrump, 35-mile-an-hour zone in the town of Pahrump. The Nye County Sheriffs, that's their territory. They enforce it strictly. So be sure you are not in a hurry to get someplace. Obey the speed limit there. Same's true for 15 and the highway patrol. If the weather is cooperative, tomorrow morning, I'll be driving to Barstow to meet with the commanding officer of that station to explain to that commanding officer what this race is all about, what that deployment of personnel is going to affect them. From there on to Baker, to the race course, and to take a look at stage 14. Stage 14 is still a question we do not have answered. So pay attention to the email. They eventually will come up with the solid answer of how that will be conducted. Stage 14. The downhill portion to the race course, coming down from Mountain Springs Pass, eastbound, is closed. We will not run that section. You can drive it, but you cannot run it. I mentioned the bib photos. The deadline on that information is Monday, the 25th. Next Monday is the deadline. I can't accept anything after that. I've sent that information out. I'll send it out again today. They'll have a list of teams that have a photograph attached to the bib number. If you're on there, then you'll see it correctly. If you're not and you want to be on there, then you got to get it to me quickly. To the race coordinators and the OICs. At every single exchange point, there is an officer in charge of that exchange point. That is their exchange point. They're in total control of that exchange point. They'll be wearing a blue vest. So as you scan across that crowd, they'll be the only person wearing a blue vest. That's the OIC. Race officials, and there's a handful of them, myself, Tony, others, we will be wearing a red vest. I don't know every single soul out there. They may know my name, but we don't always know faces, but they'll be wearing a blue vest. We will have on a red one saying race official. We have one photographer, Vince Aguirre, and Vince will be wearing a tan vest. This will be sent to the OIC so they don't shoo him out of the exchange zones. He'll be taking photographs. As you're going along the race course, I would ask you, stop a minute in your rush of going about from place to place. The officials in this race, all of the folks that work hard to make this thing happen, they're at the exchange point. You can't miss them. A nice thanks goes a long ways. Thank them. They don't have to do this. There's 1,000 volunteers out there. They don't get paid. They haul themselves all the way out to the desert to make this thing happen. Without them, this room would be reduced to about 5 people. That's all you could do out there. So take a minute. LA Sheriff's Homicide has a Burrito Fest Sunday morning from 11 o'clock in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. In the minutes will be the address of where that location is. It's free going out there. There's a great group of guys that come out there and have a big Burrito Fest on Sunday morning. Online runner registration. A great many of you have done this. A great many of you have completed it. And there are some that haven't done anything. You haven't done anything because you lost the email for the password. Contact me back and I'll send you the password, the email password to get into that system. But you must get into that system and begin to register your runners. On Monday, the 18th of March, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will turn the system off. If I find that you have not completed all 20 of your runners, then Joe Jones is going to go in that spot that's missing. And you'll get a mean email from me telling me, why didn't you do this correctly? All 20 runners in the order in which they're going to be run must be completed by the 18th of March, 10 o'clock in the morning. We are going to chip time the race this year. That's a bit different than we've done in the past. You'd recognize it quickly because we've gone from a metal baton to a plastic baton. This will be chipped timed. At every single exchange point, there'll still be photos taken. A camera is there, operator is there, and they take a picture of the exchange itself, and they log down the time that that exchange is made. And in the past, I've had to go back to that to take a look to see, did this person break a record or not? So we're looking at exact time when that happens. This does change one thing in particular. This happens at every single race. When a runner comes in and the outgoing runner is not there. When the outgoing runner is not there, what do you do with the baton? Well, you listen to the timing official that's there, and they're going to tell you where to place that baton. The baton has a number on it. It matches your team number. So the proper team has to be sure that when they do get to the exchange and they're ready to run, they pick up their baton, not someone else's baton. So it does make a little bit of difference when we're looking at a chip time. It has to match the baton. There's a note in here. It's called itsyourrun.com. You can go on to that website and you can see what your team is doing or what those individuals have done when it's loaded into that system. The briefing schedule. This pertains to the briefing that occurs in Las Vegas, and when does that start? On Friday, At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we will begin the runner registration process. Inside the Westgate Hotel, in the convention room of the Westgate Hotel, you'll find the registration desk. You'll register your runners. What that means is you're going to bring in one document only, one. You're going to bring in the team waiver. Every single runner has signed the waiver. You're going to bring that waiver in. Without the waiver, you cannot register. So you must have the waiver. If your runners are parts unknown, well, you tell them to go online, pick up the waiver, sign it, and send it to you. You'll bring in all the waivers, whether it's one sheet with everybody's name on it, or 20 sheets, or 25 sheets, whatever. But you must have that waiver in order to pick up your run log. We open up at 3, we close at 6:30. Friday. You've driven to Vegas on Friday, many of you, all of you. You know what the traffic is like if you try to leave Los Angeles at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to drive to Vegas on a Friday. What normally is a 4-hour drive will now take you 6 hours. Just normal traffic, never mind problems of any sort. So be sure you're not late, team captains, to this meeting. We'll close it. Once we close it, you can knock on the door all you want to, you will not get in. Now you are forced to come to Baker at 8 o'clock in the morning in order to do the same thing, to register your runners. The baton decal. Baton decal will come out, we'll put that on the baton. It has a listing of all of the folks killed in the line of duty who have died since last year's race. And it always astonishes me as to how many that really comes down to. 40 plus names. It consumes almost the entire decal. Finish line. The last leg of the race, 4.6 miles, doesn't take much time to run, so it's a pretty quick run. Right into the convention room. We finish right inside of that room. Follow vehicles are encouraged. Leave your runner. Leave your runner as you go under Las Vegas Boulevard. It's about 1.5 miles then to the finish. The runner will have no problem running in a coned off area directed by Las Vegas Metro through the major intersection at Desert Inn and Paradise, one more intersection at Convention Center Drive, and then into the Westgate Hotel. Your observer, your passenger in the follow vehicle would then pull into the normal driveway that enters the Westgate Hotel. There's a taxi area. We cannot plug the taxi area up, but there's a taxi area there where they can stop a minute, let the person out of the vehicle. They bring in the run log into the convention room and turn in the run log. And that is exactly who ran the race. If you change names mid-course, and that does happen, then we need to know who that is. So the run log is going to have the who ran and in what order did they run determined. Time is not important. It isn't important that you write down the time on this document. We'll pay no attention to that. Don't write it down. Keep it somewhere else if you want to, but don't write it on the run log. We have a staff of folks working the finish line. They will direct the runner into the right doorway, into the room, and into the finish. It is still your responsibility, though, to have a catcher at the finish line. Have a catcher at the finish line. Anyone that matches your team number can be the catcher, so be sure you have one. Follow vehicle inspection, and we will only inspect brand new, never run before teams. If you're running this year and you've been out of the race for a couple of years, we're not going to inspect your follow vehicle. We're only going to inspect those vehicles with brand new teams. Andrew Lee, Dave Miklos, two of the people on our rules committee, will contact those teams, set up an appointment schedule, make sure you know where to go to get that vehicle inspected. But to save yourself a lot of heartache here, be sure that you have self-inspected your own follow vehicle. Don't wait till a day before the race to open up your kit of gear and discover that things are missing. Reflective, flashing vests are missing. Don't wait till the last minute for this. And sure, don't wait till you get out there at the check-in location only to discover you don't have a strobe light or that it's not working. Four o'clock Friday, right in front of the convention room at the Westgate Hotel is where this inspection will take place. You can't see this? I can hardly see it. This is the mug breakdown. Since this was printed on 2/12, 8 days ago, these numbers have changed. What I cannot change is the order that went in for the mugs. Can't change that. That's either been done or being done right now, and I can't change it. So what I'm going to read to you are the number of mugs that'll be awarded in each category. If the categories drastically change between now and the race, well, then it's up to Ruben Gonzalez and the Baker to Vegas committee to determine what they're going to do about that. But here we go. 150 category, 5 mugs. 300 category, 5 mugs. 500 invitational, 15 mugs. 800 years category, 10. 99, 6. In the station category, 11. Invitational mixed, 21. Invitational, 21. Mixed category, 14. Open category, 19. 800 invitational mixed, 12. In the women's category, 7. And our guests, 1. When this was done, this represented 50% of every category. Categories have changed since this was printed. You can continue to change your category as the situation demands it. Send it to me and we'll change it. When you see documents that come out from me, and more importantly, documents that are listed on the website, look at the date. The very top left-hand corner is the date that document was created. When it's old, it's no good. Old meaning 3-4 days old, it's no good. I will have sent you the most recent documents, and I do all we can to make sure that it gets sent, posted on the website, and it's accurate. So your categories may change. Send it to me, we'll change it into the system. When the race is over, we'll take a look at this again and see where does it stand. Every year we do bring back mugs, and I'm scratching my head trying to determine why would you have busted your rump to get 24 mugs for your team and then fail to pick them up and make our folks have to pick them up, put them in a truck, bring them all the way up here, take them off a truck, and me to have to call you later and say, come and get them. Pick them up there. Look at the official results. You'll know if you got a mug. Be sure you get them. This will come out in the minutes. This is an attachment. This is where you get extra mugs. If you win a mug, this is where you get the extra ones. So be sure that that's the case and you want more than 24, that you contact this manufacturer and you let them know what place you got and what category and how many more you want. Same is true of the plaques. I still have plaques. Tony and I were in the storage room, and he says, what are these plaques from 2015? Yeah, they're still kicking around. Don't let me have to kick yours around here. Every single team, I don't care where you finish in this race, dead last. 287th. Somebody will be 287th. And whoever that is going to get a plaque. Be sure you pick it up and take it with you. Put it in your fireplace and burn it if you wish, but take it with you. War room operations. I told you they open up at 0600. At 11 a.m., they will post the unofficial results. 1100, right in front of the war room, they'll post the unofficial results. Look at it. Be sure that you agree. If you disagree, a penalty's been attached to your team, and you've gone from 2nd place to 9th place based on one penalty. Time to get out your 2-bit lawyer and plead your case. There's a 4-hour window for these hearings, 4 hours. And this is kangaroo justice here. You'll give them your spiel, you'll give them your best shot. They'll make up their minds in about 5 seconds and they'll give you the answer. So no long delay here. At 3 p.m., these results will become official. Okay, 3 o'clock. That gives us a little while to get ourselves ready to disperse the mugs and plaques. I did not mention Mott's. I see him in the room right here. This is Enterprise. Mott's, wave your hand over there for me. Okay. From Enterprise. At this late stage, I would hope by now you have your vehicle situation all squared away. What are you going to use for a follow vehicle? Where are you getting that follow vehicle? And having that all completely done by now. If you haven't, then be sure that you go on the website, click on there, you'll get directly to Mott's and begin to explain what it is you want. Do not rent for a follow vehicle. Forgot to call it. Sprinter vans. The small one, okay. The very, very big one, not okay. Don't do that. If I find it out there, I'll be the one that zooms in on you. Tony has been working hard, and I mean really hard, at sending out the volunteer information. He's probably 3/4 of the way through all of the notifications to your volunteers. And as happens every time we do this, someone gets that message and says, oh, wait a second here, I don't want to be working in the middle of the night. They call you up, or don't even call you up, they just email us back. I don't want to do that. I quit. And we send it to you saying, this person quit, better find somebody else. So volunteer assignments have gone out. We are going to the race course tomorrow and Friday. Saturday, we're back here. And we'll finish up what we don't finish up beforehand. If by Saturday evening your volunteer has not received their assignment, email us, and we've missed somebody. If your volunteer quits, well, then you better go back to work and find someone. Every team submits a volunteer. Yeah.
Do we just, I'm in this situation, do we just resubmit them through the website?
Yes, go right back on the website, complete a volunteer form, send it in, and I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, or on the email, I'll know that your volunteers quit and we're looking for a new person. So it's not hard. Probably a half a dozen cases like this happen every year. Before I left home this morning, my wife says, are you going to wear that? I said, yeah. She says, is it clean? I said, I don't know. I wear it once a year, twice a year, maybe. I wore it today for a couple of reasons. One, it's as old as this race. This is Larry Moore's, and Larry loved doing this stuff. He had this created for he and I 35 years ago. I said, it's a good idea, Larry. I'll take it. I'll wear it. When it's cold enough, I'll put it on. So I wore it today just for that purpose. But also to remind you, in the minutes, this is from Larry to you, telling you, be prepared. You got 30 days, not 32, not 40. You got 30 days to be prepared. And that's all you have. So you better go back, take a look at what you've done, what you haven't done. Larry mentions them here, and you'll get through this race okay. Follow vehicle reporting. Because of the change of the starting line, the starting line is 17.5 miles from Baker. It's located right at the 17.5 mile post. 4 miles north of that location is our check-in and staging, all rolled into one for follow vehicles. So check-in and staging is located 4 miles north of the starting line. They will not be escorted to that location. So right off the bat, your brain ought to be saying, what's the problem here? 5 minutes before every stage starts and 5 minutes after a start, we stop traffic on Highway 127. And just that little 10 minutes of stop bottles up traffic. And if your follow vehicle is one of those vehicles bottled up in traffic, then they're going to be late for their check-in. So right off the bat, you've got to take a look. When do you start? If you start at 8 o'clock in the morning, you don't have any problems. There's nobody in front of you. And at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody's in front of you. That's not a problem either. But all of the teams in the middle, yeah, you've got a problem here. So follow vehicle check-in and follow vehicle staging is the same location. They'll check in. Once they've checked in, then they'll move out to the roadway and be staged out on the roadway.
Where's the FRS radio?
The simplest little device that we have on here is a vital device of communication, the FRS radio. I know when you're listening to it, and I know when you've shut it off, because I'm right behind you yelling at you on this FRS radio, and you don't respond. Then I pull alongside, roll the window down, and I yell even louder at you. Turn it on, driver. Turn it on, observer, and listen to it. Yeah, there's a lot of jabber in there, but listen to it. It communicates follow vehicle to follow vehicle, official to follow vehicle. So be sure you have this, it works properly. You take batteries with it, because the longer you talk on it, you chew up the batteries. At Baker School on Highway 127, we will have a road advisory. That road advisory is there to mark the windows of all vehicles coming through that area. If you do not want to be stopped there, then mark the windows yourself. Otherwise, they're going to pull you into Baker School. They're going to mark all 4 of every single vehicle that comes through there, making sure that you are identified. We can't do this from Las Vegas backwards on the course. I wish it could. So I will ask you, if people are going to come backwards on the race course from Las Vegas out to stage 13, 12, what have you, that they mark their vehicles as well. Once the race is over, take the marks off the vehicles. I see them in the parking lot on Monday morning, a big sea of vehicles, all marked with the windows, with the numbers. On your way home, take them off. Save yourself a lot of heartburn, take them off. Reflective flashing vest. Going to be very important in this year's race, particularly on stage 14 if you have to run that solo, no follow vehicle, no help, no nobody. Just you as a runner, a headlamp or a flashlight, and run 7 miles, if it comes to that. A flashing vest is necessary from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. An announcement will go over the air as I'll be on the road making that announcement. And when it's 2 minutes to 7, I'm gonna say, get prepared. If a runner leaves the station at 6:59, they do not have to have a vest on. If they leave at exactly 7 or after 7, then yes, they will. Same thing true in the morning. 0700, you can choose to wear it if you want to or not after 0700. The RV support are responsible to hand out the bib numbers. I've spent a lot of hours working through the logistics of the QR codes on the bib numbers, how that's going to be sorted and all of that to get it to the proper locations. But their job is to hand out the bib numbers. On the front of the bib number is your medical information. Clear, simple medical information. Because if you're laying on that ground unconscious, we're not going to ask you what your name is or who your next of kin is. So be sure, they will not allow you to run until that information is complete. If you did not receive the back of the bib number and the medical information that's going to be required, I'm going to send it out again. Send it to your teams so they know what questions are going to be asked and how to answer them. Team catchers. Again, every single exchange point, a team catcher is going to be required. The very first person that's going to touch that runner is going to be our medical staff. Scanning their bib number, asking them a few questions, and when they're satisfied, release the runner to the team catcher. Be sure your catcher's there. The communication systems, such as Raycom here and others, are there to make sure there is some link between your follow vehicle and your catchers, so that we reduce the confusion as much as we can. So your catcher's there to guide that runner once they're done to their vehicle or to your support van. At the check-in in Las Vegas, I will give you 10 yellow numbers. Those numbers are for your alternate runners if you need to use them. I will give you 10 green numbers. Those are for your catchers. But essentially, anyone can be a catcher with any number whatsoever, so long as it matches the incoming runner. So you'll hear it at the exchange points when the announcer says, here comes team 29, where's catcher 29? Where's the outgoing runner 29? It all matches and we're good to go. The use of alternate runners. If we have a down runner, then naturally the runner that's inside the follow vehicle has the yellow bib number on and is ready to go, gets out, picks up the baton, and completes the stage. The down runner is taken immediately forward or backward, whichever this closest place is, to the exchange point where medical assistance can be rendered. If by chance you have a situation in which somebody notifies you, however you get the message, that they can't make it, they've turned you down, they don't want to run stage 15, 10.7 miles, they had a change of heart. Now you're going to go to your alternate that's inside the follow vehicle, and you're going to tell them you're ready to run 10.7 miles. And they're just going, oh my God, what am I going to do? They get out of the vehicle. Yeah, you're going to burn up some time. They're going to go over to the RV support. They're going to indicate they're going to run this stage. The runner that was scheduled there is not going to run. Scratch out that name, put in their own, complete the information, walk over, pick up the baton, and run 10.7 miles. No penalty attached. The only penalty is all the time you consume doing this. That's the penalty. Down runner, yes, there's a 10-minute penalty for a down runner. Tony and I wrestled with this question a long time before I finally said, this is the only answer we can use. Because we have included a new start line. Every single exchange point from 1 to 16 is what was used last year plus 1. That comes into play in Pahrump. What was stage 11 in Pahrump and announced your name, the welcome wagon and all of that, is stage 12. When you complete your runner information online, then we're going to expect you to put in your first name of the number 12 runner. The Nye County Sheriffs have stepped up to help us in this situation. Alice Eichner can't do it anymore. She's suffering from Alzheimer's, has moved back to Tennessee with her son. And what I had originally thought would just disappear, that the welcome wagon wouldn't be done anymore. Nye County Sheriff, Sheriff Worley said, no, I'm going to do this. She made the assignment, gave it to one of our auxiliary officers, and we're going to have a welcome wagon. And believe you me, that poor guy, I tried to explain them a little more to him, and I'm sure it befuddled him a great deal as to exactly what to do and how to do it. But it's going to happen. Somehow or another, it's going to happen. Your number 1 runner, 4 miles unassisted. 4 miles unassisted, flat, level ground. An aid station once a mile. There'll be a water station every mile until they reach the 4.0 mile mark, which is where the follow vehicles are staged. Then they'll pick up their follow vehicle. Motor officers will escort them, but basically speaking, they're on their own. Somebody thought I didn't know that there was a road construction out there, wrote me and said, hey, by the way, gasoline in Shoshone is $5.25 a gallon. I said, yeah, I know. That's about right. So be sure you're fueled up properly and you don't make that error. They closed the market, gas station, post office, crowbar, everything. 10 o'clock, Saturday. Saturday night at 10 o'clock, they roll up the sidewalks of Shoshone and that's it. Now you're on your way to Pahrump. Every year from the beginning of this race, we have taken our best effort to assist the kids at Baker School. This is a K-12 school, so it's not Baker High School. It is Baker School. I think the last count I had was about 270 kids at that school. Got an email from one of the administrative people there at Baker School who said, hey, by the way, if there's too much snow tomorrow, it's a snow day at Baker School. No school. I said, I can't believe that. It's not Chicago or Detroit. There's going to be a snow day at Baker School. Unbelievable. But that's true. Those kids come from 30, 40 miles away to go to that school. All around that community are mines. They mine, I guess, about every mineral around there. That's where those kids come from. Not just a little small community of Baker, but from all over the place. Well, we've gone out and helped them every year. Your donation to them from this race is $50 a team. Doesn't take much of a mathematician to go 287 teams times $50 a team, $14,350. And tomorrow, hopefully, or certainly sometime soon, we're going to give that principal there this check from you to them. This takes care of their needs for their junior high athletic program for the entire year. That's what they use the dollars for. They're a great group of people, the community, the school. Believe it or not, because we have to have a permit to run in California, it requires a nonprofit in the area in which we run to sponsor this race. Without that, we'd have to do some real dancing around to get a permit. Well, Baker Community gives us that nonprofit. They sign on the dotted line through Caltrans, we get the permit. So they're a great group of folks, and we try to help them as much as we can. Next, last due date, the 23rd of February. 3 days from today, Saturday. Your estimated time is due. Tony asked me about how many teams have submitted estimated times. I said probably about 40%, 50%, something like that. Now, without your estimated time, then I'm gonna have to go to the crystal ball to figure out when to start you. So please, you've got 3 days now to compute what is your estimated time. If you're brand new, and I mean brand new, and do not know how to do this, then you're gonna have to have some idea of who are those 20 runners and what can they do and what they can't do. And every year that this race has been done, as I go out there, I just have to cringe and say, wow, what a good soldier. Somebody is walking 5 miles. Walking. They're not jogging. They're walking the entire stage. Well, that's a pretty good soldier to do that, to get out there and have to do it that way. Okay. But you got to tell me, what can you do for me to put you in the right starting location, the right starting time? From 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The 5 o'clock starting teams are pretty clear cut. One exception, a brand new team from headquarters, Customs and Border Protection. And they didn't send me their estimated time. They sent me the minutes per mile of 20 runners. This is what each individual can do. And I wrote them back and I said, well, that's nice to know, but that doesn't tell me much. Can they really run that fast? One person said he runs 5:15 a mile. I said, well, that's pretty good. I said, 5:15 a mile, 32:30 10K. Can you run a 32:30 10K? Legitimate, on the road 10K? Or are you just telling me that? Round and around and around. No, this person has run a 2:40 marathon. Okay, that makes him a pretty legitimate runner. That's one. Who's the other 19? So don't just give me, outhouse information. You've got to be close. Here's why it's important. If you try to tell me that you're going to run 20 hours, and I put you at 8 o'clock in the morning where a 20-hour team should be, but you run 18 hours and 30 minutes instead, now you are a pain in the ass. Because every single exchange point, somebody's gonna have to be out there stopping you, saying, "Now wait here. You can't leave. You're too far ahead. No one's prepared for you." That's what happens at 8 o'clock in the morning if you tell me you're slow, but you really aren't slow. If I start you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because you tell me you can run 17 hours and you run 20 hours, now you're also a problem. Now you're roadkill, you're way in the back. And if you get too far back, though I haven't had to do this, the instructions are clear. If you do not reach this point, 18, at 0700 hours, then you're going to be removed from the course and made disqualified. Unofficial, taken off the race course. We cannot wait for you. There's 65 Las Vegas Metro officers holding down the corridor from Fort Apache and 160 to the finish line. I think that was about 32,000 for that contract. That's regular overtime, off-duty kind of payment. Now, if we have to go to additional time, well, you can just get out your abacus and start adding. It goes up real fast. So we can't do that. So either way is a stinker here. So it takes a little time and a little brain power for you to compute what can you run. On Saturday morning, I'll be here. If your time is not in the office on Saturday morning, I'm going to call you wherever you are. No matter where you are, I'm going to find you. And I'm going to peel out of you what is the answer to the question. What are you going to run? So be sure you get this to me. I don't want to have to make 40 phone calls. I know I'm going to have to make 5 or 10. That's none the case. That's always going to be the case. But I don't want to have to make 40 or 50 phone calls trying to chase people down for your estimated time. It's going to be able to give us when is your start time. And I'm sure you need to know what is your start time so that you can compute the rest of your information. So it's got to be accurate. Now, before I get to the raffles, because I'm sure everyone has completed your raffle, right? Everyone's got their forms filled out? Hold on to them for just a second here. Tony, where are you? Behind us? Oh, they'll be hiding. Yes. I don't hear you.
You mentioned that you wanted catchers at all exchanges. Are we adding one now?
I got the first part, but not the last part.
Is there a catch at take 16? At the end of 16?
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, good question. At the end of stage 16, right near the top of Mountain Springs Pass, is there a need for a catcher? No. No catcher at the end of stage 16. That runner is going to be a quick medical check. When they're found to be okay, they're going to be shooed right into their follow vehicle. And my guess is about that time of night, it won't take much to tell them to get inside of that warm follow vehicle, as it'll probably be in the teens with the wind blowing. It'll be doggone cold out there. So they'll get right in the follow vehicle, drive right to stage 17. No catcher at the end of stage 16. Good question, and I'll make sure it goes into the minutes in that format. Yeah.
Do the follow vehicles need to record any kind of delay on their run log between 16 and 17, or is that all being handled by the chip time?
The question is, do the follow vehicles log down the time in which you finished stage 16 and then when you start 17? And the answer is yes. Log it down. You will be about the fourth redundant system that we have to determine that time. If it becomes necessary, they'll refer to it. But if not, we have the electronic means. We have what the amateur radio operators will write down. We should have that system locked into place pretty good. But write it down. It's a delay, much like any other delay in the race course.
Chuck, just one more piggyback on that, leg 16. What do you guess, 20, 25 minutes from when they get in the vehicle to start 17?
You know, we tried to compute this. You're going to be driving 6.8 miles down the mountain in a 35-mile-an-hour posted zone. There are 2 contracted Las Vegas Highway Patrol motors who will go up one side and down the other, whose sole job is to enforce the 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. You're driving a follow vehicle, all of the apparatus attached to the follow vehicle. You surely don't want to drop any of those things on the roadway. So it's 35 mile an hour. We're guessing about 25 minutes to get to stage 17. You could probably be a little faster, but that's about right. When you come out of the construction zone, you will enter the 4-lane roadway again. When you do, right there is going to be our early warning ham. And that early warning ham is going to tell you, get into the shoulder lane and slow to 10 miles an hour. Now you're going to drive 1 mile at 10 miles an hour in the shoulder lane until you approach stage 17. When you reach stage 17, you will be directed by a crew of volunteer officers who are going to guide you to a stop. Right there is Rick Massa, one of our officials, who is going to be sure that your outbound 17th runner is ready to go. And when that's the case, again, we're going to depend on these because Rick is going to talk to your follow vehicle crew off this FRS radio, directing them to move forward right to the timing table. 17th runner is there. They're handed the baton. They're told to go. Off they go. So we're guessing about 25 minutes to get that done. But critical to this is your 17th runner there and ready to go? If they are not, your follow vehicle just waits until they are.
Being that 16 will have already been checked, we still need a catcher at 17 after he hands off the baton?
No catcher at 17. You're not catching anybody. There's only an outbound runner there. But the 16th runner that's in the follow car is going to need a little help to get to a support vehicle. So there'll be some amount of assistance there for that person. Otherwise, they're in for a long ride. Yeah. This happens when you're old, man.
Any parking passes needed this year?
Parking passes. Question is, do we need any parking passes? And the answer is no. There are no locations in which you will need a parking pass. Yeah.
Back in the course of last week, that Lake 16 going into Pahrump, not a lot of room in case the car breaks down, traffic accident, or flat tire. If something like that does happen, it's going to bottleneck that entire pass of runners going before 12, 13 through 16. Any provision, any tow vehicles that clear that lane, you just have to assume nothing happens or get there super early.
On the uphill side, that's going westbound and eastbound for that matter, on the east side of Mountain Springs Pass, the downhill portion that we would normally run. That area right now is under heavy construction. There's one lane up and there's one lane down. There is no guard, there's no K-rail down the center. All there is about an 8-foot wide, barreled off center divider. We have those motor officers there solely for that purpose. If there's an accident, if there's a problem, they're going to jump right on it. That's the best that we can do. Yes, you're right. Not only is that a problem, where stage 14 is located, all driving traffic is pushed over to the westbound lanes where there is a K-rail. Now, there is a wide center divider there. You could get around an accident if there was one. But again, it's a bottleneck. It could happen. We are the traffic out there, folks. It's us. Not the town of Pahrump, not the town of Las Vegas traveling. There's a few of them. It is us. So we've got to be cognizant of what we're doing out there. We've got to be careful. We've got to be sure we don't have any accidents. But it is a tough spot, no question about it. Any other questions? 35 years of giving this, pretty much the same thing. If you'd listened to me, I know Scott's not in here. I've seen Scott. He's listened to me 30 years. It's pretty much the same business every single time. But at the same time, it's been a lot of fun. This is my last year doing this as a coordinator. I've asked Tony to come in here and take over this. He's been around me 20 plus years. Learned as much as I can possibly teach him in that 20 years. He certainly taught me a few things about the systems on the computer and how to make things faster. I basically have to tell him, man, don't show me. What you're showing me, I'm only going to forget. And it's not important in my brain right now. Getting us through this race, this next 30 days, that's important. Making sure that we are getting this done and done safely, that's important. But once done, then I plan to be just the runner and hopefully still make our old blue team, although I am getting a bit slower here and there, and moving down the pecking order of harder stages to the easier ones, which is not bad at all. So enjoy yourself out there, have a good time, keep your team coordinated, keep all the information going, read the emails. Let's go through the raffles. Turn your raffle ticket stuff in and let's get it going.
Before we do the raffle, if we could just take a quick moment. 35 years, Chuck has been associated with this race. Chuck is one of the co-founders, as all of you know, hopefully you know. So I believe after his service here, he deserves a round of applause. So if we can all just give Chuck a great big round of applause. Chuck, thank you very much for everything that you've done.